Good morning. Today, September the 2nd, is Father's Day here in Australia, and the readings, they don't particularly relate to it, but one of the things that made me think about some of the issues to do with Father's Day are contained in the Gospel reading, in which we read in that story about a great banquet. Jesus often talks about stories about great banquets. He uses it to talk about our relationship, our invitation to come and share in the banquet of life. And it tells one of those funny stories about where somebody comes along, sits themselves down, and then has to be moved because they've sat in the place of the bride and groom. We've all been in situations like that, and we find them rather amusing. What we also fail to realise in this story, which is perhaps something we could think about in Father's Day, is that there is another side to this story too. Jesus also tells us that there may be other people who come along who sit right down at the back, and that they recognise as being people of greater honour and are brought forward. When we think about somebody special like our father, for example, is that often one of the things that we need to consider? That we often take people who are close to us, whether it be our fathers or our mothers, our brothers or sisters or friends, for granted, and we're being invited perhaps to think that that God sees something different in us. God sees into the heart, the classic writers often tell us, and we need to look at that. Do we take people for granted? Do we overlook things about them? Father's Day, Christmas, Mother's Day help us to realise some special things about people, things I suppose that we should see every day. There's another part of this story too, that the story finishes off as Jesus talks about this great feast. He says, you shouldn't just invite your friends to the great banquet. You should also look for those who are sick, for the lame and the blind, people who wouldn't naturally be invited. That the Christian understanding of human life is rather different from the basic, raw, natural experience of human life, in that we need to look beyond our comfort zone. We need to look to where there is real need. So Jesus, he doesn't say don't go out to lunch with your father on Father's Day. He says that you also need to look beyond where you would normally look. This Father's Day, can we look at those who are close to us and make sure we're not taking them for granted, but also see where we can be challenged to look beyond where it is that we normally just operate, and step outside our comfort zone, knowing that God wants us to be more expansive people than we ourselves find ourselves to be. Have a good week.